Good afternoon. Thank you everyone in the audience for being here today, and a special thank you to our panelists. You may not know that they are dialing in from Ireland and France, so it's very, very early in the morning and it's extremely cold. But before I introduce them, let me say a little word about today's event, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of things. My name is Maleena. I'm very happy to have you all here with us today. I hope you've had a spot of lunch, and if you haven't, you're actually having a break right now with some food and drink. This is the last Lunch and Learn of 2022. I can't tell you, none of us, I think, have realized the speed with which this year has gone by, but we want to end it with a bang, with a topic that is dear to all of us and all of you on coaching and how it can transform our lives. I have a special word for my co-host, who is no longer with us today, Swain Chen. He's leaving Singapore to go back to the States. And I would like to wish him all the best, because we've had great moments together co-hosting. And if I goof up today, I can only blame myself, yeah? So we're looking forward to hearing more from Swain on the other side of the Atlantic. And let's kick today's session off with a quick introduction. Mr. Andrea Splendori, who will be our first speaker. He's an experienced coach working with individuals and/or teams providing coaching, mentoring, and bespoke well-being programs. He has extensive multinational experience across a number of industries, working with established corporate clients as well as startups. Passionate about the spoken word, with shows is available on radio as well as live on stage. Fluent in Italian and English and conversational Spanish. So for Andrea, coaching is a way to create a new language for both individuals and organizations. In a nutshell, it is a journey of self-awareness that in turn allows us to relate to people in our circles, whether in our professional or personal world, in a way that is more conducive to personal and professional growth. A little sort of clin d'oeil or wink at Andrea. I discovered sort of Andrea, I mean, he's far more famous than me, but I sort of turn it the other way around, me discovering him whilst I was working out at the gym, huffing and puffing on the treadmill and listening to his podcast. I was looking for something, you know, exciting to listen to whilst I was running. And lo and behold, came across his podcasts and devoured them one after the other, and the rest is history. So Andrea, over to you, my buddy for my runs, as well as a buddy now in the work that we do on coaching. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Maleena. Thank you all for being here. And I hope my accent is not too hard to follow. I'm Italian and I've been in Ireland for over 30 years. So it's a bit of a mongrel accent, I'm afraid. So hopefully, if you can't understand me, let me know. But yeah, I came across Maleena, we met, and I must say it's been a great journey so far, and hopefully we'll carry on collaborating, because I think the passion I have for coaching is something that informs a lot of the things that I do. And what I'd like to do today is just give you a quick presentation on my understanding and my experience in coaching, how it can facilitate our growth. So without further ado, let me go through this quick presentation for you, and we will have time for Q&A afterwards. So we're talking about facilitating clients' growth. And what we mean by that is really the picture is not there's a reason why there's a plant there. We are organism. We are part of an ecosystem, and we all contribute something to each other, and we'll get to that in a second. Before I carry on, let me tell you, this is me. I've taken this slide, the title for this slide, from the best-selling book by Carl Rogers, On Being a Person. It came out in 1961, and it's quite an amazing piece of writing. But his writing, and Aristotle's and Socrates and Daniel Pink and many others have informed my professional and personal life. And this is what I want to share with you today. I want to share some of my insights on what I've learned. But this is me. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a businessman, I'm a qualified coach with ICF, International Coaching Federation, and EMCC, which is the European Mentoring Coaching Council, both at a professional certified level. I'm also a tutor in the Kingston College in Ireland that is with teaching coaching and mentoring classes and courses. And I train for an entrepreneur academy here in Ireland. As Maleena mentioned, I do broadcasting and podcasting. I write, I play music, and I'm an artist. Now, if I showed you this list a few years ago, it would have been two lists. It would have been the left-hand side, what I used to call my mortgage list, the things I had to do. And on the right-hand side, it would have been my amateur list, for the love of. I do a lot of these things for the love of. Amateur from the Latin, amatore. But now, the more I'm working on myself, the more this list has become the one, the two combined. So I do more of what I love doing and less of what I have to do. And the reason I'm here this morning, I don't know what time it is, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, is because I want to do it, because I love doing this. So nobody's asked me to do it. I haven't been forced to do it. So it's quite important for the balance that I found through coaching. And that's what I want to talk to you today about. What is coaching? Most of you will know. However, the view of coaching really is allowing us to look deeper into our souls. And Maleena mentioned awareness, self-awareness is really what we're looking at. We all have the answers to what we're looking for. And it's just a matter of bringing them out to the forefront. Coaching is a partnership. So whenever I work with my clients, both individual and corporate and companies, it's a partnership. I put a picture of a car here because I always sit beside the driver and never touch the steering wheel. The only thing we do occasionally, we ask questions about that blind spot that we all have. And that blind spot on the rear mirror that sometimes we don't see. So we help with questions, and there are so many different interventions in personal development, from therapy to counseling to mentoring. And one easy way to explain the difference for me is, say, for example, with mentorship, a mentor would answer your questions, a coach would question your answers. So that's a big difference, because I'll be questioning your answer. I'll be looking for more answers from you. I'll be looking for more insights from you. And the reason it's different is because of this. If you're looking at this, and just take a second to think about it, I think it's a sunrise. It could be a sunset. I took a picture, but I can't remember where I took it. But let's say it's a sunset. And what you see there, what sense does it give you? And perhaps you see a sense of calm, of peace, of bliss, or whatever it may be. But if I asked you, and we won't be doing the answers here on the Q&A just yet, but if I asked you, would you change the color of this? Would you ever look at a sunset and think, oh, that was a wonderful sunset, but I wouldn't mind having a little bit more green on the left-hand side or a little bit more red on the top? We never do that. We never want to change the sunset. And that's the way we look at clients, at coachees. We see them as perfect human beings, and it doesn't matter what the color, the hue is. And this, again, going back to Carl Rogers, we believe in this unconditional positive regard for our clients and our coachees. And it is important. It's the key to coaching. If we don't believe in that, we will never see the changes. So it's really, really important that it is part of the code of ethics that we abide to. But we can all choose to live well and happy. And this is true because through this, we look at pleasure as the most important way to flourish. And so we need to help our clients, we help our client to find a way to flourish. And it helps, through goal setting, small goals every day to allow us to get to where we want to get for the bigger goal. We do this through tutoring, counseling, coaching. But as I was saying, everyone has something to contribute. This was Aristotle say this about 2,500 years ago, and we still follow these rules. So coaching is a relatively new to the world, but it really isn't. It started back with Aristotle and Socrates. And why am I saying this? Because I'm going back to my original slide. It is important to find all of these things within yourselves to have the life that you want. And you can choose to live well and happy. Because what happens sometimes, there's a difference between the ideal self and the real self. And this is, again, I go back to Carl Rogers' concept of it. And he spoke about the importance of congruency. So the ideal person is the person you would like to be. And unfortunately, sometimes that is a little bit, what I see a lot with my clients, is something we're chasing because we think that's what we want to be, because we started from school, from work, from our parents, or whatever it may be. However, the real person is the person that we actually are. And what that is knowing our strengths, knowing our, being aware of who we really are, what we like to do, and how we would like to do it. And if we experience congruence when our thoughts are about a real self and the ideal self are similar, and unfortunately the opposite is true, the discrepancy between the two is that state of incongruency. And we see a lot of this in coaching. We see a lot of executives that have chased this ideal self for a long time, and they found themselves realizing that that's not who they are, and they're looking for fulfillment outside of work or outside of the family. So there's a paradox that is, unless we can accept ourselves for who we are, we cannot change. So we really need to accept ourselves for who we are to change. And we do this with coaching because we work a lot on strengths. We work on the present towards the future. We're looking at the past simply as a way to leverage towards the future. So positive psychology is one of the main cornerstone of coaching. And so is appreciative inquiry. And we don't need, if we can bring something from the past, we might as well bring something that is positive and it works. There's no point to bring things that haven't worked in the past. I know I'm speaking to an audience that knows a lot more about all of this than me, but it's simply to say that we have in our brain, we have the amygdala, we have the hypothalamus. And if one is under stress, if we're under stress, the amygdala increases in size and the hypothalamus decreases, which means we are not ready to learn. We can't learn as easy as we should. And what coaching does, it gives you the chance to pause, to really look deeper into yourself, look at the things that you should really take more care of. We live in a very chaotic world, and no more than yours. I suppose I don't know enough about it, but I'm sure it's a lot more chaotic than mine. But even we are constantly under pressure from the outside world, and this idea, the amygdala, is not designed to deal with so much stress all the time. So taking the time to reflect and to really work on the things that matter makes a massive difference. And we see this every day with our clients, that importance of reflection, that importance of really looking deeper into ourselves. Because believe it or not, our brain can only produce 1 or 2 thoughts in the conscious mind at the time. and we believe we can multitask. And it's a belief that it's really a little bit unfounded. We constantly do this switching back and forth. Perhaps some of you, while listening to me, at a quick glance at their phone, and it's absolutely fine. However, the brain can't deal with that. And the brain, there's a switch cost effect, has been studied, how much we lose by switching all the time. We are very single-minded, and we have a limited cognitive capacity. So we need to ensure that through what we do in the work of coaching, we compartmentalize the things that matter and make sure that you can work on a regular basis in a transformative way. In the transformative way, we'll get to that in a second. It's simplicity. Simplicity is the key to coaching. Just staying with the small steps, the things that matter, the things that can be achieved. I wanted to mention about collaboration and trust because I don't believe that anything we do is an individual gain. Everything we do is part of a bigger thing. It's part of our, it could be a small team in the office, a small team in the hospital, it could be our family. Everything we do has an impact on someone else. And with coaching, we see that the more we learn about ourselves, and again, going back to Socrates, knowing thyself, once you know yourself, you can collaborate in a different way with your loved ones, with your colleagues, and beyond. And there's an amazing study which you probably know. It's called the Grant Study, and the Grant Study has shown that the relationships are the key to happiness. The Grant Study was done over a period of 80 years in the US, and it followed over 1,500 individuals from the age of 10 to death, to the moment they passed, and they found that the key to happiness is relationships and connection. So collaborating and being, nurturing your relationship is key. And once your relationships are getting better, your collaboration becomes a major contributor to success. And again, this is key. And trust isn't something that we earn, it's something that we give. So why I wanted to put that slide in, because when we do work with organizations, we actually started a project last night with the Red Cross in Italy. And the interesting thing is that's what we started from the individuals, but immediately we're going into a group and a team coaching, because that is the organism. And every time we look at a team, every time we look at a group, we see it as one organism. And that's the importance, because we all have something to offer. As Aristotle said, we all have something to offer to society. And there's 5 simple questions you can ask yourself to start with in this coaching journey. And these are, what are the things that you need to stop doing? What are the things you need to stop doing? What are the things you need to do less of? What are the things you need to keep doing? And what are the things you need to do more of? And finally, what are the things you need to start doing? Very simple, but that's also saying with coaching, most of the times are the simple steps that we can make to make the bigger changes. I do this, I have been doing this for a long time, and it goes back to the original slide I showed you. By doing these 5 steps, and now I'm in a position that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm doing less of what I have to do and more of what I need to do. That doesn't mean that I stop working. It just means I'm enjoying my work a lot more. And work and your professional and your personal life, a lot of the times do, if not, in fact, all of the times do mix, and it's important to have that balance. So those 5 simple questions could be worth to have a little look at it some point this afternoon or this evening and see if they might be of help. Because the really important thing is the small keys really do open doors, big doors. So we're not looking to change the world overnight. But if we make small changes in ourselves, we can open big doors. And the coaching is a process of change. We're always starting from today. We're moving forward. We're moving to the future. We tend not to look at the past too much. We just look at the past as a springboard to the future. It takes time, but think about all the bad habits that we can create for ourselves. They do take time. And the same thing with good habits. It takes time. And the smaller the step, the greater the learning. And I'm a great believer in that. I see it daily with clients. I see it daily with students. And we always refer to the marathon. You don't start a marathon. If you want to run a marathon, you're not going to do it in a week. It's going to take you 6 months to do it. But the small steps is what going to get you there. And thank you for listening. I'll leave you with the curious paradox that once I accept myself for what just as I am, then I can change. And that was Carl Rogers. So just a quick whistle to Maleena, whistle tour of coaching. I hope it was concise enough.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Andrea. That was an exciting tour. And having to look at ourselves for who we really are, that soul searching as well as acceptance is as easy or as difficult as it can be. And you always have coaches to help you along on that journey. Thank you. And perfect timing, if I must say so myself, for someone who's spent a very short night resting. Thank you very much. Our next panelist, Marie-Veronique Clement, is, apart from being a colleague, is also a friend. A shout out to Marie, who is joining us from Paris. I hope you're well. A little bit about Marie. She's an academic in the Department of Biochemistry at the Yonglulin School of Medicine. Her responsibility is to teach cell biology and biochemistry. I forgot to say earlier on that Andrea's sort of distant past was in the land of microbiology, I think, and food. So there's something in common with all three of us in that domain. Marie then had got her PhD and she works with students and research fellows. She contributes to the field of reactive oxygen species biology in cancer and more recently aging. In addition to her past 10 years experience as Assistant Dean of Education at Student Affairs at the School of Medicine, made her realize that she finds purpose and self-fulfillment in being somebody's safety net, cheerleader, and listening ear. I know she certainly has been mine. Her current aspiration is to be a certified and ontological coach. If I fast forward beyond the university, the School of Medicine, I can tell you that Marie, and to enrich, and found her Ikigai in February 2022. So that was fairly recently, and she'll tell us all about that. The instinctive her became more intentional. She completed the Code Partnership Training Program, and she's aspiring to be a certified ontological coach. She hopes to be able to support more medical students, juniors, and maybe not so junior doctors and health professionals to be who they want and deserve to be. Her strength is to be an instinctive, deep, and active listener. She can hold a safe space for people to talk and reflect and use pragmatic, positive thinking to reveal new possibilities. If you want to be heard and to reflect in a safe space, feel free to contact Marie. Marie will tell us about her journey. Over to you.
Thank you, Maleena. So let me share. Am I okay? Your screen sharing. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see if I see my screen. Okay. Excuse me about my issue because I just don't see my screen. Okay. Oh. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Have you managed to get your first slide? Yeah, we can see it,
Yes.
Marie. Yeah.
You can see it? Okay.
All good. All good.
All my coaching is active now, because when you're a coach and trained to be a coach, you have to be really balanced and centered. So here I am, centering. Okay, so thank you, Maleena. When Maleena asked me, Marie, would you like to share your journey to be a coach? I was a little bit impressed and say, well, I'm just a rookie coach. I'm just starting. And I feel even more impressed and a bit intimidated after coming after Andrea, because he's a really experienced coach. But here I am, and I will try my best to share with you what made me become a coach and really be passionate about coaching. So maybe before I was trained as a coach, I would have said, well, I am Marie-Veronique Clement. I'm an associate professor. I'm at the Yonglulin School of Medicine, Department of Biochemistry. Here are my credentials. Maybe you'll see how coaching can change that. So you want to know about my journey from working as an academic to become an ontological coach. So I just will go quickly over what happened to me over the past 20 years. So I started in NUS as a researcher. So I was just a pure researcher, and I worked my way through research associate, scientist, senior scientist, starting in 1997 in NUS. Within 4 years, in 2001, I was able to become an assistant professor, hence I became a teacher. So a researcher, a teacher, and now joining the Department of Biochemistry. Then 5 years later, I was appointed associate professor with tenure, and I became a leader. So I became a researcher, a teacher, a leader. And at the same time, like Andrea, I was a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a wife, even a stepmom, and a mom. So I was all this for all these years. And during my time as a leader, as Maleena shared with you, the position I really enjoyed most was to be an assistant dean for student affairs. Because for 10 years, I was the safety net of many medical students. But I knew something was missing. I was missing a skill. I could listen, I could see, I could feel they needed something, but I was missing something to help them. And then in 2020, something happened. I think I was ready for it. The school started a program to train coaches for medical students. And I have to thank Prof Kesavan, who really is the driver of that initiative in the school. And I was so blessed that he reached out to me and asked me, would you like to train to be an ontological coach? And I think I was so ready that I said, yes, sure, I need to be trained. This is me, I want this. This is what's missing in me to be even more efficient and intentional for the students. So here I am, trained as an ontological coach. I did my training from May 2021 to February 2022. But what is ontological coaching? So it's coaching. Ontological coaching is part of a school of coaching. And I think the best person that could explain to you in few words what is ontological coaching is Terry Luperger. She's a master certified coach, and she was my coach. So yes, I've been coached, and I've been coached by one of the best, Terry. So Terry is a director of coaching training at the Coach Partnership, the school that I trained to become a coach. And what she says is that the coaching and leading is partnering with another. That's what Andrea shared. Coaching is partnering to facilitate the emergence of new possibilities, behaviors, and action by making him, her, or them aware of their participation in the construction and the co-creation of the reality he, she, or they perceive. So I think we are aligned with what Andrea shared. Coaching is a partnership, it's changing behavior, and the coach is just a facilitator. The coach is there to partner the client to see, and maybe see things he's never seen. So in simple terms, coaching could be helping you to get better results. There is some coaching approach that are focusing on an action you do, you have a result, the result is not satisfying, you change the action, the coach helps you change the action, and you do some, again, you try again, and you have a result that might be the same. And this is, I think, what was shared before is pretty much the bad habit we have to just do the same thing over and over and over again. And so that works sometime, and a transactional performance coach can maybe help you change the action. However, I think ontological coaching, and maybe coaching in general, even from the ICF, International Coaching Federation, if you want to be a master coach, you're going to have to go beyond action result. A master coach like Andrea will go to who you are. Who are you? And we call that the observer. You are the observer, it's you. The who. Because if you address who you are, you will get to the what and how. And the who you are is what's going to make the what and how. It's what's going to get you a different results. And that's called the second loop, because from a result you don't like, maybe the best thing is to go back to who you are, me. Ontological coaching approaches the me and you as a real overall person that has emotion, that has body language, that has language. That's the fundamental of ontological coaching. But fundamentally, it's coaching taking care of you as the observer. So why does the observer, the who, matters so much? Why is that? So I want to do a small demo of coaching. So look at this picture. Tell me what you see. Tell me, what would you ask? I want to take a pause and think, what do I see? What would I ask? While you're thinking, I can tell you the story of that picture. The story of that picture is we have a chat group with some colleagues, and the colleagues sent the picture. And for me, it was like, so funny. This is so funny, so great. This is the observer. My husband looked at me and said, what are you looking at? I don't get it. I don't see anything. And it was like, yeah, because I see what you don't see. We are two observers. How so funny. So I'm wondering what you guys are seeing. Maybe you're wondering, oh, I see a painter painting an elephant. I think that's what my husband was saying. Maybe another one could see, oh, I see a painting, but there is a gray triangle in the middle. That's what I was saying. And then a painter with a horn in his vision. That's what I was seeing too. But then what would you ask? Would you ask, why is there a triangle in the middle of the painting all the time? What would the ontological coach ask? So the ontological coach could ask, I noticed that all of your painting there is a gray triangle. Could you tell me more about that? Then the observer, our painter, would say, this is the way the world is. Then the ontological coach would say, okay, what makes you say the world looks like that? And that's when the painter stops, think, and say, And that could be either aha moment, either very puzzle painter, because that's what coaches are doing. They push and ask for you to see, because the observer matters. Because we do not see things as they are. We see them as we are. The observer, we are. Here's my cartoon I made when I was training to summarize some of our learning. So you see me, you, we usually have a conversation with ourselves. We can have the same one. What we see in others is the same one, usual conversation with others. But are we learning? Andrea introduced learning, the word learning. What is learning? Learning is opening our mind, maybe allowing ourselves to see something else. And the ontological coach would say, what possibility might open if there is no hole in the field of vision, in your field of vision? And then suddenly you change the way you look at things, and the things you look at changes. Now there is another way. The other way is learning. It allows a new conversation with others, but it allows a new conversation with you, with yourself. Open your mind, allows for that new conversation. This is what the coach can help you and support you do. This is the journey the coach can support and help you do and see. So when you work with a coach, your life changes by design instead of by default. Look at the picture. Just do nothing. It is impossible. But if you look at it differently, it's like, just do it. Nothing is impossible. So what question? Andrea's proposed 5 questions, and I have other questions, I guess. I'm getting really into the habit of being a coach, asking questions all the time. Ready to explore if there is a hole in the field of your field of vision? What would happen if you remove it? What new possibility would become available? That's the question I asked myself when I was trained and when I was coached. And I realized, who do I really believe I can or I want to be? But the next question is more important. Can my current observer get me there? Because if I want to be something, I really have to question my current observer. Who I am now, can with who I am now be what I want to be? That's the question a coach will push you to think about. And that's me now. And I told you I had this big title, and now I realize I work as an academic. I'm not an academic. I am not an associate professor. You take away associate professor, I still exist. I am me. Me, my work is an academic, yes. But I was writing, I aspired, and when I was preparing this talk, I said, no, I want to make a difference as a coach. So I've already also moved one step forward from aspiring for, and now I say, no, I want to make a difference as a coach. And as you see on the slides from a very famous coach, Marshall Goldsmith, your job title is temporary. But how you treat others, that is what will be remembered. So my job is a job. What happened to the job? I still love the job. But before I show you that, I show you a little bit what people, colleagues like you, I'm sure in the audience, you might be doctors, you might be students, you might be NUS Medicine administrator, you might be junior consultant. And this is who I want to be, a coach. And this is what I declare to you. That's what's going to be me now. And some clients have said some nice things. And I do like the one about, would you have paid for it? And the client said, it depends on the price, but I would not have expected such a valuable experience to come for free. Yeah, good things don't come for free. And then an NUS Medicine administrator, if you are here, look at what coaching did. I have looked at my daily work with a renewal sense of purpose, meaning, and vitality, and I will continue to strive to do so. And I also coach some junior doctor. A junior consultant say, thank you for being a terrific coach, listening, reacting in a non-judgmental. Non-judgmental is very important for a coach way, and being open. So that's what coaching can do. And I really believe in coaching for our organization. What happened to my researcher, teacher, leaders hat? Actually, I realized I've reactivated my flame of growing and learning. I was stuck. I was a bit getting bored. What's next? Now I'm an ontological coach, or aspire to be, because I have a long way to go. I'm just a rookie coach right now. But now I feel like I think I can be even a better researcher, a better teacher, a better leader, and a better daughter, sister, aunt, wife, stepmom, or mom, whatever, because now I know who I am and what I want to be. So get this flame of learning burning again. Train to be a coach. Get coach to be the better you. And your future is not about the past, and that's from Marshall Goldsmith. It depends on what you do today. This is the basic of coaching. It's now and future. The past, as Andrea said, what didn't work won't work. So let's forget about it. It's now and the future. Thank you. And I hope our organization will really embrace coaching, because I think this can make a big difference to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie, for that insightful sharing and your journey with all the various hats that you wear. I'm sure our audience has many, many hats as well. And they can jump right in and ask questions or clarify certain things. Just feel free. I'd have a little question for all of you today, and it's doing a poll without doing a poll. I hope you can type sort of something into the chat box. What brought you today, or what piqued your interest to come and attend today's webinar? It could be a one word, it could be a sentence, so that we have a rough idea of what brought you here. Can anyone see the responses? I haven't seen anything yet. Are people thinking very hard? Perhaps curiosity? Yeah, thank you. To learn what the state of coaching is at NUS. Thank you, Mara. Meme says, hope for some self-improvement. To learn, from Shirley. Anyone else? Yeah, curiosity is a great thing to have. Okay, there are some specific questions in the Q&A. Thank you for those who have posted their questions. The first question I'd like is from Vivian Lim, and she says, thanks for the presentation. Question for Veronique. Is coaching part of your teaching responsibilities? Are you given course credits for it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And indeed, Prof Kesevans has really put in place a good program for our undergrad medical student. And he has also managed to get the approval that the coaching we will do for undergraduate medical student will be part of our teaching responsibility. So indeed, this is very important because it's part of our teaching duty.
Thank you, Marie. And I think Anne-Marie Chacok typed in the webinar question list, and it's probably the answer to the first question about what brought her here, the institution's commitment to coaching. If I'm wrong, do correct me. Here's a question for Andrea. How does coaching differ from counseling? when you see a coach and when you see a counselor?
There's some slight differences. The main one being we tend to look at the future with coaching is future. And what Marie shared as well, when Marie-Veronique shared that double loop, there's also a triple loop in terms of transformational coaching. And it really is moving forward all the time. And that's the key difference with some of the counseling that we've seen in Europe. Now, it could be slightly different there, but it's really, and it's goal setting. It's goal based. So we're looking at setting some goals and achieving those goals for starters, and then could be performance based. However, it's future forward, and it tends to work on as I say, an appreciative inquiry. So we're really looking at what works all the time, what is working, and what can we improve. Now, I'm not a counselor. I'm actually studying a course in psychology and counseling at the moment. So if I come back next year, I'll have a better answer for the way I'm studying. But it's very much future focused and based on achieving goals. It's goal centered to achieve what you want to achieve. And then, as Marie-Veronique said, it also links with the transformation that you're looking for, so it's not necessarily, there's performance coaching, there's life coaching, there's career coaching, group coaching, and so on and so forth. But if I can take for example, another question was there, if that's okay, it was to do with how do you train doctors and staff might be trained as one, which kind of links to that is again, it's just as an organism. You're looking at the team as one organism. You're looking at all of you. It doesn't matter what the size of the team. You can look at the team as one organism and what works in that organism. What is the best of everybody, and how do we create that collective and collaborative intelligence to move forward? And this is something we're doing at the moment with an organization here in Ireland, where we're working with a specific team, and the team is across different levels, and how they can all collaborate and cooperate to get the best that there is for the team and for the individuals. So I'm not sure if I answered the question, but the counselor, I don't know if Marie wants to add something to it.
No, I think you covered it. Yeah. For the training as a coach is a commitment. It's not something you do, I would say, on the side, or you have to be committed to it. Like my training was 9 months, and 9 months of a lot of homework, a lot of report to write, a lot of books to read, a lot of training to do with clients. And the training doesn't give you the certification. It just gives you the base and the skills. Then if you really want to be recognized, it's better to get some kind of certification. And the International Coaching Federation, ICF, is one of the best who gives credential. But for that, usually you have to work on your coaching skills after the training is over. Giving you just the base, and I'm still doing it. You have a certain number of hours to do, and then you have to submit a coaching session to be assessed by ICF assessors. So for myself, you see, I finished my training in February, and I'm still training to get that first level of certification, because I need the number of hours, which is first level is 100 hours. The highest level is 500 hours at PCC level, and skills. And you have to really, really sharpen your skills. It is not that easy to really focus on the person as a coach. It's a skill.
Thank you, Marie. There are a few questions here. I can see one from Amanda and one from Sulin, and one also, in a sense, from an anonymous attendee. They want to know about how coaching can, what NUHS offers. How can they become sort of coaches themselves, or at least what do they need to do? Who do they need to speak to embark on this journey and try it out? What is there a selection process?
Well, if I may just talk on behalf of the coaching committee, at the moment, really the coaching committee is organized for the undergraduate medical students. So the target was to have some senior staff train, and we have now a group of senior staff who are also teachers, trained to coach undergraduate medical students. I might not be able to talk about NUHS as an organization and how NUHS wants to move forward, maybe this culture of coaching. I might just share that I think there is some discussion in progress. I think there is some thinking about how to get that done. So I'm sorry to not be so specific about NUHS, because I cannot talk on behalf of maybe the NUHS leadership. But for the undergraduate medical student, I think we have already trained a group of coaches that are basically working with the student at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Marie. Here's a question from another anonymous attendee. It's all about convincing working professionals of the value of coaching. Andrea, you know, I'm going to address you with this one because our participant says it feels like more resistance in the workplace to develop such skills or to develop such offers to people when they talk about coaching.
Yeah, and the person is so right. Coaching is still seen as something a lot of companies, a lot of organizations still talk about it as a soft skill, and soft skill is not necessarily top priority. However, how do you convince them? There's a very simple way, and that is to try it. You know, the moment you try coaching, a bit like what Marie-Veronique mentioned, she went to a coach and she saw the changes in herself that then she brought to the thought of doing a course in it and make it happen. You really need to try it. You need to try it. The way that there are testimonials, there are many organizations. For example, here in Ireland, where I'm based, it's becoming the de facto way of doing things with learning and development the learning and development department. So, as I was saying to you earlier, the HSC, which is the healthcare professionals here in Ireland, the government professional, and also they have a subset called the TULSLA, which is the Child and Family Agency. They both have introduced coaching as part of their organization. Now they're a huge organization, so it's on starting. And how do you convince them? You just show them by taking, like we do, for example, we do some pro bono work with companies. But once they see it, then they get it. They see the changes. They see the changes in the individual. They see the one-to-one becoming a real key to the organization. So it's harder to explain than it is if you were to talk about therapy, for example, which we have been talking about therapy for a lot longer than coaching. But it's the experience of coaching is the key to it, and also looking at different. Like in America, it's very well, coaching is very well developed. It's been around a little bit longer. Europe is becoming, we work both in Ireland and in Italy, and even Italy are taking coaching quite seriously now. And Italy is traditionally very, very hard country to change. You know, we love our traditions. So it's really just trying it out, just allowing the people to see. And the standard session with a coach could be 4 hours, 4 one-hour sessions. And it's quite incredible what that can do. And I go back to the small steps I was talking about. I see Marie-Veronique nodding. It is amazing because the moment you step into a coaching session, the change has already happened. You made that decision. So that person asking that question is perhaps on that journey. She or she, I'm not sure, wants to make that change. So that's the moment we meet the client, we're in that process. And then the small little things that happen. And the magic happens in between the sessions. So you spend an hour with me, with Veronique, with anybody else. You go home, and 2 weeks later, you come back to see me. But in those 2 weeks, the changes are incredible. And you start to see things with a different lenses. I always describe, that if you were to change your glasses today, you didn't realize that your vision had changed slightly. And you go to the optician and give a new set of glasses and go, oh, there's a little bit more on my phone than I thought there used to be, So that's what you do. And it's called the ha-ha moment, transformation, call it whatever you like, but it's really is a process of transformation and change that happens in between. So how do you convince them? You convince them by showing the results that have happened in many organizations. And there's quite a lot of, at this stage, there's quite a lot of literature around the importance in the changes that coaching is making. And I have to say, I probably should have said at the beginning, I came to this coaching world very, very, very skeptical. I did not believe it was something that was going to work. But I was sold the moment I tried it. As a coachee, I thought, okay, if it can change me, that I'm so skeptical, there must be something to it. And it is quite incredible. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm going to address the next question to Marie, but I'm going to give you some homework so that you can type in the Q&A. There's a question for Andrea, so that whilst Marie is speaking, you can use that time. Could you recommend any books to read for self-coaching, Andrea, if you know them off the cuff? If not, we will make a special list and send it to all our attendees after the event so that they can, pursue that. So the question for Marie in this case is how it's about impact on our young students. How do you assess the effectiveness of coaching sessions for medical undergraduates?
Okay, I mean, I guess this is the question because that's what we're gonna be asked that. But okay, I think that of course it's going to take a while before we see if there is a real long-term effect and outcome. But I can just share what I just started. So I've been given 17 undergraduate medical students year one. And I just completed seeing them at least once in one session coaching, and some came back already for the second session coaching. And I was really happily surprised that all of them have different things they want to look at. They all have different, maybe blind spots. So maybe I just share one student who was really doing the work, as Andrea said, a lot of work has to be done between two sessions. So the first session, he said, yes, I think I'm really keen on the self-development, and I would really like to work on how do I'm not influenced by other people's opinion. I have difficulty expressing my opinion, and I feel that every time I'm in a group, I always kind of buy other people's opinion and never mine. It's very hard. Okay, so we do a one session coaching, and as a coach, at the end of the session, you co-create an exercise. I think Andrea mentioned it, that you need to do some exercise to try to see if you can change that little step that you could change. So he went back with something he had decided to do during a committee because he was a committee member. And it was more about offering his opinion without being too afraid and see how it goes. And then he comes back with 4 or 5 weeks later, we have a second coaching session. And he might have the ha-ha moment in a sense in between, because he said, he was very excited. He said, I know, I understand now. It's not, my problem is not that I don't have an opinion. It's just because I don't know what I want. I realized that When I really, really want something, and then I'm not scared, and I share it. But I ask my friend, and they say, yeah, we never know what you're thinking because you don't know what you want. But he had that moment of awareness that made him move one step forward. So we realized that, and then he was like, okay, so now I know it's not, I have the when I want and when I don't want, so it's not the same situation. And we did another coaching session, and now he's back to something else, because now he's combining. He realized that he has, when he really wants something, he can get it through. His danger zone is when he doesn't know if he really wants it, and then gets a bit of a fear. He feels a bit fearful, but now he understands a little bit better how he functions. So he's on trying something else and growing. And it's all about little step of growing. And you see, even a medical student can do that. Another one might have been, he said, well, I'm very happy. I really love what I'm doing. But he said, it's strange. People tell me I feel I'm cold. And then the kid seems to be really a genuine kid, but he realized and was made aware that when he interacts with patients, he's cold. So he said, what can I do to maybe try to improve that? So the coaching will not tell him what to do. I was not going to tell him, and I'm not telling him what to do, but we talked about it because he was willing to face it. He was aware of it. And so we worked on it, and he's just created for himself something that's going to try, and small step by small step, he might change himself and become a terrific doctor. So, I mean, it's just two examples, and all of them, the 17 I have, they all had something different, but I was satisfied that at every end of the first session, they told me, wow, I learned something about myself today. And to me as a coach is, okay, at least I've done the minimum. I unlocked something that they are willing to face. I hope that answered the question.
Thanks a lot, Marie, for your testimonials as well. It's just gone 2:00, and I know your day has just started in Europe. I'd like first to take the last 2 minutes just to thank everyone, and also to answer a question from Mara, because she asked, how has the organization embraced coaching this far? I know for a fact that some persons have had individual coaching. We're trying to move towards team or group coaching I guess that, performance word has to come in, but actually for people to get on better so that they can work together better, and then across various teams and departments as well. So it's nascent. It hasn't taken off completely, but it is starting, and we hope to grow it with a larger pool of coaches in answer to Mara's question. The other thing I'd like to say is, for everyone, being the last, session, do join us next year. There'll be International Women's Day in early March as well. And a special thank you to our guests from Europe. For Andrea, grazie mille Andrea, ci sentiamo presto, ti auguro un buon Natale. And for Marie, mille merci Marie, à bientôt. Je te souhaite de très bonnes fêtes de fin d'année. So that in English would be thank you to both our panelists, and hoping to hear from them again soon, and wishing them a great festive season, happy Christmas, and all good things till we meet again in 2023. I hope the audience had a good time today, and do keep your questions coming via email so that we can address them. And you can contact our panelists anytime. You can find them on LinkedIn, you can find them easily, and keep the conversation going, transform your lives, enjoy coaching. And we certainly enjoyed having our coaches with us today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.